speak a single word, 'cause you got me holding. Even if my jokes aren't funny, my tongue tied up on it. And I don't need to speak a single word, 'cause you got me holding. And I'll be running, possessed by a lone voodoo. Fired up like a wolf on a full moon. And we're stuck in a la la land. The tides will turn without us. And I'll be killing time like I might be a cartoon. Take it in real life like haiku. I know we got the good vibes when pieces fall right into place. Even if I lost all my money, the zero runs deep, honey. And I don't need to speak a single word, 'cause you got me holding. Even if my jokes aren't funny, my tongue tied up on it. And I don't need to speak a single word, 'cause you got me holding. Play me like a bass guitar, simmer down and mess me up, tripping like I'm Jimmy at Woodstock. Drive me around in your red Ford, shivers down my spinal cord. Oh, 'cause you got me holding. Even if I lost all my money, the zero runs deep, honey. And I don't need to speak a single word, 'cause you got me holding. Even if my jokes aren't funny, my tongue tied up on it. And I don't need to speak a single word, 'cause you got me holding.
Hey, what's up, guys? Thanks for joining us again. It's actually the grand final today of the Dominus Gaming GT3 Season 1 in ACC. So, grand final taking place at Kyalami, so our home track here in South Africa. Pretty excited about that. Definitely not a track that's been oversaturated in sim racing as of late. I'll get slated and destroyed if I do comment something like that. Everybody loves Kyalami, so I love Kyalami. And joining me in loving Kyalami tonight will be the voice, of course, of Richard. Richard, how you doing?
Good in yourself, G-man. I love Kyalami, so no slagging at Kyalami.
Yeah, well, I mean, I knew you would have a little go at me for that. And of course, someone else that will probably have a go at me for slating Kyalami will be Spandex Cobra, also known as Eddie. Eddie, how are you doing?
Good on you, George.
Yeah.
Look, I'm not going to slate you for Kyalami. I will just point out, I believe it's the only track you know all the names for all the corners.
You actually are right. That's a fun fact. It is one of the tracks that I do know all the corner names of and how to probably say them. I mean, some of them have a little bit of Afrikaans. We've got some Liu coming out later and some Ingwe.
It's also the only track where you know actual true trivia about some corner names.
This is also true.
Like genuine.
Yeah, like this is actually a big thing.
I mean, normally I just make up rubbish as I go. So, contributing a little bit of actual facts as we go as well. We're adding to the Dominus experience as we go. I mean, we talked about it the other day. It was sort of the, what was it? Like the anniversary of our cast that we first did together at Spa.
Yeah.
Where none of us knew how to say any of the corner names. And Urogi was there. Radillion was there, Radillion, there were every single pronunciation of that corner name came out. So we've grown, we've learnt, and through the season we've also seen some drivers grow and learn. Of course, at the moment, Bruno leading up the championship, he's kind of secured things, right, boys? Can people catch him at this point?
Negative with one race left, and he's got a 71-point lead. So it's actually all about second place today. Yes. So if Etienne Kleb does not finish and Jason, let me just double check my math here. Yeah, if Etienne Kleb doesn't finish and Jason wins the race, they'll tie for second place. And
Ooh.
then we've also got Franco Albertine to look at. He's just outside the number 2 and 3. If Jason and Claire both fail to finish, that second place is all up for grabs for Franco.
Okay. So there is still something happening for those podium spots on the leaderboard. So there's still exciting racing here, and we've still got a bunch of cars on the grid. You know, at the moment I see 16 have loaded into the lobby according to my timing sheet. So Eddie, on your side, are you ready for the boys to go over to the qualifying session here?
I was just about to say I'm skipping the server forward now.
Awesome. So we're about to go over to quali, which means we're going to dive into the action, go over to our capture screen and make sure that we've got some audio working. If you guys can just give us some audio levels and some tests as these cars all start coming out of the it's going to be a very busy quali lap, it looks like, as the cars jump out. Rich?
Yeah, no, it's going to be a very busy one. This is actually quite an interesting one. Guys jumping across that pit line, it seems as though there's not very many cares given to it in the opening stage of this quali, but I suppose really not so necessary. No one's going to be coming from behind them. So I don't know, your take on that, Eddie?
It's always necessary to respect the pit lane.
Thank
You
you.
know? If you
Words
can't
of
respect
wisdom.
the simulation, why are you even there?
So yeah, this personally though is, I don't know, I think the novelty has yet to wear off for me with this circuit. I can't get enough of it, really. Like, I mean, specifically us having been here last year, it's quite something to drive around. Even sitting here watching these guys, it's just a little bit of nostalgia.
I think everybody piled out of the pits purely because nobody's raced here in weeks.
Yeah.
Like, we went from racing it all the time to all of a sudden nobody wanted to touch it. And I'm glad to be back. And I think all the drivers are glad to be back.
Yeah, I think you're 100% right there. Maybe having a little bit of a break from it. You know, we kind of threw a lot of Kyalami out to the guys during the solidarity period, and as well as in the time that Kyalami had come out in the game. You know, everybody was mad to get on it. So a lot of Bathurst fans as well, but Kyalami seemed to be one of the local favorites, and maybe having given it a break for a little bit, we'll get a little bit of a new spark coming out from the drivers as well. I'll of course bring up some of the timing boards and the timing sheets as the guys come around the out lap before they go and start setting their flyer laps here for quali. So they've only got 15 minutes to do something here, and of course there's going to be some traffic out on the track to deal with. That's one of the things that we kind of talked about in the Monday night racing side of things, Eddie, is when you come onto the track, you want to give yourself a lot of room so that when you are out on that flying lap, you don't come up to the car in front of you and find yourself slowing down, because you can't really get by someone at Kyalami, especially if they're out on a flyer lap, right?
It's not just trying to get by somebody. I mean, you don't want somebody blocking your view into corners, blocking your view of your braking spots. Now, you don't want to try second guess, is that guy going to brake late? Is he going to brake early? You want a clean lap to just be in your own world, follow your own momentum, and not be distracted, you know?
So one of the things I think that's actually quite important, and touching on that, Eddie, is just the flow of this track. If you're caught up behind a car who you can visually see isn't in the flow that you're necessarily going to be following, it can be hugely detrimental in any situation here. So, you know, guys are going to be hard pressed to find that little bit of open track.
I always encourage guys, don't jump out the second qualifying starts. Go double check your setup, make sure your tire pressures are okay. Allow everybody else to go out, and you can then generally buy yourself a little bit of clean track. If you wait too long, of course, your outlap might be during other people's hot laps, as we see Jason spinning around into the pit lane.
A 720 no scope entry into the pits, I believe.
It was the
I quite enjoyed
Boulevard
that.
roll. that got him. We must not forget the new name for, what is that corner? Ingwe. No, not Ingwe. Cheetah. It's
Cheetah.
The Boerewors curve.
Yeah, so we don't call it sausage curbing here during our South African streams. It's definitely the Vorsi, and definitely going to punish Jason there. And of course, that corner going to probably feature a couple of times during this race. We've seen it catch drivers out before, and I always blame it on the fact that as the track rubbers in and as the cars sort of clip that Vorsi, it kind of blends in with the rest of the tarmac. It blackens up, and you can't quite see where you can hit that narrow apex, and that's when you start to send it, and that's where you really start to panic, because there's really no runoff. You go straight into the dirt. You either lose time or you get onto the grass, and like we saw with Jason there, the grass just going to spin him completely around. At the moment, we're looking at Stark Buerta, another amp to play driver, I believe, as he drives around in a Porsche, something that maybe Richard wants to touch on, Porsches in this lobby.
Well, I mean, this being a Porsche-developed circuit, I think guys are going to be on the money there with the Porsche. The Porsche, known to be quick here, as long as you set it up so it doesn't eat its rear tires. I think that's a good choice. I think it's the better choice, personally. I've gotten a lot of flack in the past for not having driven Porsches, but I like a Porsche around Kyalami. It feels right. It feels like it's meant to be. So I think the guys who are in the Porsches, especially Mr. Absmeyer, I think he's going to be very at home in that car on this circuit. I think he's going to be, very at home.
I mean, we talk about the Porsches being very comfortable on the circuit, and then we go over to Mr. Bruno Kadili, who's running around in his AMG. Of course, he's driven this Mercedes a lot of the time. We saw him switch over in the series a little bit to a Porsche. I think it was for a round or two. Of course, with the way that Dominus was structured here, guys weren't really locked into car choices, and that was a bit of an admin side. That was a bit of a problem. So at the same time that we talk about a Porsche dominant circuit, it also comes down to the driver behind it. I mean, Bruno was sitting up with a pole position. It has been bested by a Porsche whilst talking about it. The Son, Eddie, has gone and taken that temporary pole position with 9 minutes left to quali.
And I believe Basson is also on a brand spanking new wheel tonight. So I'm sure he's keen to get out there and have a hell of a good time on his new setup and in his new car. I don't think he was driving the Porsche last week. Last race. I think he was still in the Aston Martin back then.
Yeah, I think that he has doubled around and changed a bit. I think you're correct in the Aston Martin choice. We did see that for a fair bit of the season from the AMP to play community. The guys were all running around in Aston Martins, and Rich, thanks there. I just messaged you in the TeamSpeak as well. Just if you do go, just type in the chat as opposed to poking, because otherwise people are going to think that we're getting poked here.
Gotcha.
Okay, so Richard is back, everybody. That was the man that was poking us there. We were just talking about Christos Basson and the AMP to play community driving around in the Aston Martins earlier on and having made the switch over to the Porsches. And I don't think it's a bad switch coming into the Kyalami round. Like Richard was saying, it is a Porsche developed track. We do know that the Audis are also quite strong here, and that's quite surprising to see. Mr. Jobert having broken away again from his Mercedes to favor over onto the Audi. So a little bit of change coming out from Vanna Jobert himself in the TGN Racing Audi. I'm glad to see him in an Audi. I feel like this car is a little bit more exciting to drive personally. So I'm glad to see that Mr. TGN Racing Simulators putting those simulators to the maximum and driving a car that really puts you on the edge of your seat. That Audi here is a hell of a lot of fun.
I drove an Audi at the 6-hour race that was here, and you start off thinking it's an easy car to drive, and the more you kind of get into the groove, the more you get it into the car's rhythm, you start thinking you're a hero, and that's when the car becomes not just dangerous, but a lot of fun. You can really keep it on the edge, lap after lap after lap. But let's hope for Vanna's sake it doesn't happen to him what happened to me, where you get a bit too comfortable and that underlying Lamborghini DNA comes out of the Audi and just bites you.
Yes, of course. They do share a motor. We see Jason in the background of the timing sheet there. I was going to ask Richard to read us through some of the order. Rich, are you comfortable to take us through what our current standings are as we come into our final 5-minute shootout of qualifying?
I can do my very best. So Jason Absmeyer, he's obviously up at the top spot there. His fastest 1:41.079. That's hellishly fast. That's proper fast. Christos Basson coming up in second. We've got Bruno Cadile, he's up in third. Minna, he's coming up in fourth position. Dion Cup, he's heading up fifth. That's our top 5 so far. Etienne Kleb bringing in the 6th place spot. Sean Bertha bringing in the 7th place. Victor de Kock in the 8th place spot. Sean Buck coming in, dropping in there at the 9th place spot as we're going past it. That drops Werner Jabeur down into 10th. Sean Lawrence is in 11th. De Vet finds himself in 12th. Diego Paulo 13th. Diego Moloto, he's in 14th. Noah Hendricks 15th. And Vivster Richards, he rounds it up in 16th spot.
So thanks for that, Richard. That will be our running order for today. Like we said, 16 cars on the grid here to race. Still a good turnout considering we are into the final round, and some drivers not keen to show up to the last race if there's nothing for them to gain from it. So always going to do a little shout out to our drivers that have rocked up all the way to the end. I know that there were problems for some of the drivers getting into the lobby as well, and to those guys who tried. Yeah.
One of the notable absenteeisms today is Franco Albertine.
Yeah.
I mean, there's 4.5 minutes left. I hope he makes it on. But he could actually go tumbling down quite far in the order if he doesn't arrive for this race.
Yeah, that's, like we said, he's in the contest to take 3rd place from Jason if something goes wrong with what happens on Jason Absmeyer's lap. So at this point in time, definitely a bit of a shock story for him to not be here, and I'm sure something has gone wrong on that side for him to not be here. Victor de Kock, another man that didn't quite manage to make all of the races, and I think that is something to be said. A lot of the guys are committed to full-time work commitments and things like that, so we do understand if you can't make races, and there's definitely no hard feelings on that front. But Victor de Kock, someone that didn't really feature at the start of the season, but has made his way all the way up to 10th position in the championship standings, so has definitely had some good races for the ones that he's been here.
Actually, that brings me a nice point. There's 4 guys to look at in this race. There would be Stark Buerta, Sean Lawrence, Sebo Moloto, and Victor de Kock. The 4 of them are very close in points, and I mean it's one position ahead of the other one to jump 2 guys in the standings. Victor de Kock at the bottom of that pile, but we've seen he's quick. If he finishes a 2nd, a 3rd today, he might leapfrog everybody up to 7th overall. So that's Buerta, Lawrence, Moloto, and de Kock are all fighting each other on the timetable, never mind on the track.
A shootout in the mid-pack is exactly what we wanted coming into the closing round, and that just means that everybody that is on track and has come into the final round is here and wanting to better their standings at the end of the day. It must be said that Bruno's had a great run for the season so far, and not going to discount his start at this point in time. Of course, he's got those 2 Porsches starting in front of him. Basson will be starting on the inside line, starting in 2nd. So Jason going to be forced around the outside, as will Bruno. So Victor and Basson will have that inside line for the start as things stand at the moment. Of course, they could change up in the closing 2 minutes. But, it's all about position at Kyalami. A circuit that is not really known for making overtakes easy, is it, Rich?
No, not at all. And on that note, I've been watching Bruno's time here. If he can put in about 6/10, he's going to be able to jump into that 2nd place spot. He is extremely close to taking that 2nd place spot. He just has to get that little bit more. And that's going to help him, like you said, just be in the better spot for the start of the race. This first corner at Crowthorne it's an interesting one. It's got such a late apex. You've got to make sure you have good track position.
Sorry, Rich, it's not even 6... Sorry, just to jump in there, it's not even 6/10. 600ths are actually between him getting into 2nd place there. So, Bruno even going to, try and better his times as we go along.
but we all remember the first Solidarity race, Ulti starting from third, managing to jump to first position because 1 and 2 were defending and fighting each other going down to effectively T2. And that allowed Ulti to jump third all the way to the lead of the race, which he kept till the end. So maybe Bruno keeps that in the back of his mind, allow Basson and Absmeyer to bully each other going into the corner, and you pick up the scraps that remain.
I think it's a great point. I think that strategy coming into it's not a bad place to find yourself, and at this point in time, you gotta just plan it out. You got an hour of racing ahead of you. There is a mandatory pit stop for the guys to do. Of course, they're gonna come in and change their tires. So, you can really drive the cars like they want to be driven here. It's currently 30 degrees on track, so pretty optimum. I mean, 24 degrees, sunny, not too many clouds in the sky. The cars will be loving it. The drivers will be loving it. And being at the home circuit, I think we're all going to love it for a grand finale here for Season 1. And Bruno Cadilli going to pull over to the side. I think he's done with all of his laps. We've only got 3 minutes or 4 minutes of wait time at maximum before we get these cars onto the grid.
Cap, he's on a flyer of a lap, it seems.
Yeah, he is actually on an absolute cracker. Stark Buerta looks like he may also, but that might be an invalid lap time, that.
So Dian just got to get through Cheetah now. Of course, the Bentley driver's sitting on the other side of the car compared to everybody else. Pretty normal for us South African drivers. But it is an interesting driving angle and something to get used to if you are just switching over. Dian going to come up a 10th on his time. Does it jump him up into 5th place? He does not manage to snatch it away from Manar, who will start in 5th on the grid. So, I mean, we can run down the order as soon as we get onto these cars onto the grid. We'll do a little flyby of the action here. So before we go over to that, a tradition from the EU side of things is to always predict a winner, which sometimes gives the commentator's curse a chance to rear its ugly head. But I'm going to put you guys on the spot here, starting with you, Eddie. Who do you feel is going to be your victor at Kyalami this evening?
Yeah, I was going to say it's Etienne Kleb's turn to win for a change, and then I noticed he's stuck down in 8th place, so maybe not. I'm going to say De Kock. De Kock, he has always been there when just behind the leaders while the leaders are fighting, and if Absmeyer, Kedile and Basson just get out of shape enough in the first few laps, then my money is on De Kock. Richard, where's your money lying?
I'm personally going to go with Jason Absmeyer. The man is just bringing the fire lately. I have a feeling he's just hungry enough for it tonight where he's just going to put in what he needs to do. I really do. I just have a feeling tonight's his night.
Listen, I'd like to just mention that come the end of that qualifying session, Kadili did get himself that inside line ahead of Basson. So this makes my choice quite difficult because, of course, Richard's picked Absmeyer off my hands, which allows me, Kadili, the man whose name we butchered for the entire season. I had a voice call with him, and he was just what a great gentleman, really. But yeah, he did give us the correct pronunciation, which pretty much the whole world had given us ahead of that.
Yeah.
But Bruno, being the man that he is, said that we can call him whatever we want. But we'll definitely try our best to, get everybody's names right. We can run through the order as the guys go around for their formation lap because my free camera has been giving a couple of problems at this point in time. I just need to mute some stuff here on my end. Sorry.
To reboot a bit because my cameras were acting up.
Yeah, so that's exactly what I did as well. I just needed to restart things on my end because for some reason we don't quite have the camera support in Assetto Corsa that we would like to get, and it's coming, it's on its way, but at this point in time, it's a little bit difficult to try and get everything set up and working the way that you would like it to get. So if we do have some technical issues, we apologize. Cameras jump around. But our boys are lined up on the grid and ready to start their outlap here at Kyalami. I'm very excited.
Just got off.
Disconnected.
Oh, sorry guys. Let me bring my co-casters back. We've just had a crash in our TeamSpeak server. So let me just bring back. They'll think that I've just left them, but we are back and we are live again. So everything crashing at the same time means that nothing's going to go wrong when the race goes live, as everybody starts their tentative single file to get some warmth into the tires. So, Richard, on my side, would you like me to pan through the cars and they'll bring up their little name tags and you can run us through the starting order?
You may do that.
Okay. I'm ready when you are.
All right, so in first position, running out the whole pack here for the formation lap is Jason Absmeyer, followed up by Bruno Cadile. Christos Besson is our third place man. That's the first three spots for your grid, or should I say rather fourth place would make your first two rows. Victor de Kock is your fourth place man. J.K. Minnar rounding up in fifth. Dion Cup, sixth position. Stark Werter finds himself in seventh. Etienne Kleb down in eighth. Sean Buck with the last minute qualifier up in ninth. Werner Jobert, he finds himself in 10th position. 11th is Sean Lawrence. 12th position, Noah Hendricks. 13th, Stefan de Vet. 14th, Diego Paulo. 15th, Tsepo Maloto. 16th, Vivian Richards.
So a packed little grid here for us. I mean, not the biggest grid that we've ever seen, but at the same time, a bunch of really, really quick races. And I feel that we are going to get ourselves such a splendid show of racing here today. And honestly, the track conditions are looking pretty good. I did see that drivers were upset about the quali conditions not quite going over to a optimum track, or they were qualifying on green. But at the end of it, I think they did get it up to fast. There'll definitely be enough rubber at this point for the cars to start getting a good runaway from things. But hopefully not going to cause too many issues if there were some rubbering issues there, Eddie.
Sorry, I was just having a bit of a technical glitch here. I was going to say, like, you don't put up a 141 at Kyalami if the track is not rubbering in. I think guys were just a little bit antsy at the beginning of qualifying, but the qualifying times make it look like a decent track today.
So Sorry, Rich, go ahead. No, I was going to... Yeah, go.
No, so as Eddie was saying, I mean, these guys definitely didn't have trouble putting those times in. That 141 is that time you want to be looking for. But I think we should be now focusing as our pack rounds the final corner here.
Yeah, they are going to go around Ingwe for the last time at this kind of snail pace. And they are going to begin their double lineup down the grid, waiting for the lights to go green. And there they go. We are live for the final round of the Dominus Gaming ACC GT3 Season 1. And what a run from Bruno it is. He's got that inside line, and he's got the run away. Jason Absmeyer quite wide. It's going to be an interesting corner coming in for these cars. All very clean, it looks like, down the back of the pack. But Kadili is going to get the runaway and get the whole shot. First and second are going to get themselves a bit of space to Besson in third. Victor de Kock in fourth. But wow, what a start. Everybody keeping things nice and clean. Doesn't look like too many jumps in position from my side. Rich, did anything catch your eye that I may have missed?
Absolutely nothing. Good jostling in the mid-pack there. Everyone keeping it fantastically clean. Really solid racecraft by everyone. Triple deep in some of the corners. Sunset, particularly there between 9th and 11th, was fantastic racing. But very, very clean. Very well done to all the drivers on the opening lap.
I'm telling you, the biggest loser from the opening couple of corners is Jay Minnar. He's gone from, I think he qualified 6th. He's now down into 8th. Made a bit of a mistake in the Lamborghini coming through turn 4 and just started being swallowed up by most of the field. He's now got Vanna Joubert right behind him, and then the rest of the field chasing them down.
Yeah, they've made themselves a little cork in the bottle right now. They've got Hendricks in the mix. They've got Buck there as well. Menard going to run quite wide. He's going to let Jobert get closer as they come down towards Cheetah. But that's not a place that you can go too wide. So if you just secure your exit, you're going to be okay. Jobert and Hendricks are going to be fighting it out at the exit of Ingwe, it looks like. And it's all going to be down to the run that these two cars are going to get. Of course, the slipstream effect going to be taking account here as Noah Hendricks going to be tucked right up behind the back of the Audi. Not quite where he wants to be, but is going to still try and have a look on the inside. Not quite there, but of course, just getting in the mirrors, letting Jobert know that that is where he is.
I can also tell you Maloto and Vivster, they didn't have an incident with each other. It seems they had independent incidents, but they've both fallen now almost a lap behind the pack. I managed to catch Maloto. He seems to just have fought too much curb and spun himself out, unfortunately.
I think that spin was big enough to pick up some damage worth stopping, because he's now found himself in the pit lane already. It's going to be interesting to see how long he stopped for.
I mean, there's a train of cars coming down through the S's. Jobert, Hendricks, Buck, Lawrence, De Vet, and I believe Paolo are all in the mix of things, still lapping within, you know, a couple of tenths of one another. This is that train of racing that we see in these Tim-Top cars. Of course, not easy to make moves at Kyalami. We'll mention it multiple times here. You are trying to pressure other drivers into making mistakes. And right now, nobody doing that in the racing phase so far. Of course, the start having gone quite cleanly so far. Bruno Kedili has given himself a bit of a gap towards Jason Absmeyer in second. And Christos Besson, he's hugging on to third there, just trying to keep Jason Absmeyer a bit honest. And the three leaders here do definitely have themselves a bit of a gap to De Kock, who is the gatekeeper for fourth.
I was just going to bring your attention to Dion Cup. He is closing down on De Kock pretty much meter by meter. And I suspect within the next lap or so, that big Bentley is going to start causing a lot of Porsche issues.
I mean, it's not a car that you would think is greatly successful here, but of course, we did see some things coming out from the ATK rounds where a couple of Bentleys really featured up at the top. So if you can drive any car, it really comes down to your driver ability. The BOP in Assetto Corsa Competition is really good. Of course, people will argue that Porsches are a little bit overpowered at this point in time, and I won't argue. I'll be okay with it. Porsches can stay overpowered. I'm biased towards those cars. It's the main car that I drive. But definitely, yeah, Kyalami, you see them a lot. So it's always good to see a big old Bentley in the mix of things. And I mean, that's what you see. If you look at the leaderboard in the top 10, you see those Porsches towards the top. But then we've got a whole mixture of other manufacturers, and that's always fun to see.
Well, Jay, I think it's a great point that you mentioned, because, I mean, even though this is a Porsche circuit at the end of the day, Bruno finds himself up here in first position, just under a second gap to the man behind him, but he is really making that Mercedes prove that, you know, living proof, should I say, that you don't have to be driving a specific car for a specific circuit to be fast. You can take any old thing, and as long as you, the driver, can panel, it's relatively easy for you to do what this man does.
I can take a Porsche to any track and be dreadfully slow, and that's just my talent.
That's just what you do.
We've got Laura Hendricks now bothering Vanna Jubea heading into, let's just call it T1. I mean, we know it's T2, but this is T1, really.
Yeah, Crowthorne always catches people out. Of course, the kink T1 at Kyalami definitely doesn't feel like a corner at all. It's a slightly bent straight, as Jobert, of course, now holding off Hendricks. Hendricks in that Ferrari has been bothering Jobert for the last couple of corners, and that means that Jobert is going to have a mirror full of Hendricks, and that's going to be forcing him into defensive lines, and that may open up the potential for Sean Buck to get into the fray. Of course, cars battling out on track going to give you such an advantage in terms of trying to catch up to them. As long as you can nail your apexes and exits in your free air, those cars in front of you are going to be catchable. And right now it's going to be up to Jobert to just stay defensive against Hendricks. Coming up towards Leeuwkop, it does look like he's given himself a bit of breathing room as I try and find us another battle on track for you guys to watch.
Maya and Kadile, they are... Kadile just doesn't have an answer for Jason at this point. He does not seem to be getting away at all.
Yeah, it looks like, I mean, we saw a couple of laps earlier, Kadile seemed to have more than this as a gap between them. So Jason's definitely found something, or Kadile made an error along the way. But of course, with 53 minutes to go, it's anybody's race. And it's just great to see that there is good racing across the pack at this point in time, Rich.
No, absolutely. Everyone's keeping it so nice and tidy. And the battles that are forming have been really close and really clean. I mean, the battle for ninth that has been ongoing, that ebbs and flows, all of the guys in the mid-pack keeping it really, really nice and tidy. So, this is what you want to see from racing like this. These guys putting in the time, putting in the effort, and everyone making a concerted effort to make sure that the racing stays at top tier level. Eddie, any thoughts on the current running order? Because I do think we're going to see Jason trying to make a move soon. I can just see this man having a nose, having a look every so often. What do you think? Do you think he's trying to line him up?
The problem for Jason here is that all the cards are in Kadile's hands. He doesn't have to do anything to win the season. Jason, though, has to do everything just to finish on the podium for the season. So he's going to try to lay on the pressure as much as he can. But Kadile could easily just sit back, soak it up. We know he's a fast driver. We know he can defend very well. And he's got nothing to lose or gain as such. I think all the pressure is on Jason. And sometimes that pressure can get to you. And that's what ends up sending you into the wall more than an error or a mistake.
No, absolutely. But that run onto the sausage did not help him there whatsoever. Sorry, the Boerewors, let me get that right. That's not helping anyone there.
A little bit of sad news from the back of the field. Seems like Moloto did a bit of speeding in the pit lane and he's gotten himself a 30-second stop go. He's already 2 laps down, so it's his afternoon or his evening subtly ruined, I'd say.
Yeah, that's not something that you want to pick up in an hour-long race, that's for sure. And I feel that, he will be kicking himself for that happening. I do know that Moloto is unfortunately not driving on a normal accelerator pedal. He's actually using a clutch paddle on his Fanatec to modulate his throttle while his throttle pedal is undergoing repairs. So, he is driving under the duress of having some stress. And, that's not an easy thing to do, having to learn to drive using accelerator on the pedals or on the paddles of your wheel as opposed to using your feet. So, found another battle on track for us to kind of witness and see what goes on. Of course, the cock here is going to be trying to hold off Dion Cup. Dion Cup in that Bentley once again, chasing down another Porsche. So maybe Dion Cup, the Porsche hunter in this season, or in this race here, as the cock running a little bit wide. Dion Cup getting a good exit. Going down to Mineshaft, going to be happy with the way that things have gone. And Cap just going to be, doing that thing where you tuck in, you wait, and you just see if you can find a way past without, stressing out too much and causing a bit of an issue. But this could be side-by-side action, not where you want to do it. Good move from Cap to tack back. Oh, he's touched a little bit, but the cock also seemed to lag on my side there. So a bit of strange netcode went on that front. So I'm sure on Dion Cap's side it was also a bit strange. Victor the Cock seems to be back where he was. Very strange occurrence in terms of what happened on stream there. I want to see if that can still come back. So let's just see. Just going to watch. There was definitely a bit of lag that occurred. Yeah, something definitely went wrong with the netcode on the Cox side there, and I'm glad that it didn't impact.
Collect a wall or anything, so he should be okay with damage.
Oh, getting a touch onto the rear wing there is not nice, and the way that ACC works with this sort of variable damage in different parts, that could really impact you in different ways. But it looks like Hendricks and Buck are now going to go side by side through Sunset. They are, as they come down towards Clubhouse. The Cock, he's lost out big time there as he needs to try and make his way up, of course, through Clubhouse they go. Hendricks is going to come out in front. It's a battle between two Ferraris, and De Kock has kind of split them up. He's got through on Buck. So Buck may be doing the smarter thing, knowing that De Kock's a bit quicker. He's going to use De Kock to chase down on Hendricks there. I wonder if that's a little strategic move coming out from Buck to let De Kock do all the hard work onto Hendricks in front.
Well, it initially looked like he had the loss of drive, but I mean he's kept right on the tail of De Kock there. So I think you're right. Gee, that may have just been a calculated move of, I don't want to fight him right now. I'm just going to sit in his slip and I'm going to use this to keep up with the Ferrari in front of me, because these two have also been knife fighting for the last. Oh no! Sean Buck dipping it a little bit there, coming through this.
Crocodile.
Yeah, that was Crocodile that he lost it there. That is really unfortunate. Such a slow technical corner. You really have to try keep it together there. And I think he maybe just got a bit heavy on the throttle there, just a bit too excited to keep the chase.
Back up in front, I was just about to tell you guys, Bruno still has no answer for Jason. I mean, they're leaving us on a little bit, maybe out, but I'm impressed with Jason tonight. He is clearly focused. He is clearly, he's got the rhythm. He's on plan, and he's not allowing Bruno to get all the credit for the season that Bruno probably does deserve. But I feel Jason has maybe had more bad luck than bad driving this season. What do you think, George?
Yeah, I mean, of course, he was plagued with, a couple of wheel issues as well. Wasn't able to compete at, the level that he wanted to be at. And I think that, given the circumstances of where everything stands, it's always great to see people, coming out and still representing until the very end. Jason, a driver for White Rabbit. To me, someone that has showed a lot of good sportsmanship along the way. Kadili and Absmeyer together, like a real power duo, to say it. So, whenever you get to see these two drivers dancing on track, it's a spectacle to witness as a fan of sim racing. And, they both do the right thing. They both give each other room. They both are, they show the right etiquette, and it really goes a long way in making sure that these battles go on for a long time. And I just want to kind of jump down the order and see if we can find some more on-track battles for
Sean
you guys.
Lawrence and Stefan de Vet are having a fantastic knife fight at the moment. Stefan de Vet seems to have been able to get one up, but there is a straight-up race between these two right now.
De Vet had Thiago Paulo bothering him for many laps, and he soaked up that pressure until Thiago lost control and sent himself back down to 15th. It'll be interesting to see if Vet can soak up the pressure from Lawrence, because we know that AMR is also stupid quick around Kyalami. And I'm just also impressed with the Bentleys functioning so far inland. I mean, we're far from any kind of navigable waters up here in Joburg.
Oh, I just love to see these guys throwing it the way that they are. I mean, you saw De Vet throwing it into Sunset, Lawrence matching him, holding on to the back quarter panel, and these two drivers are going toe to heel to toe, as they really find their rhythm around. I think De Vet does know that if he can, just hold off Lawrence for a long period of time, it does get frustrating following a driver, and you get into the that rhythm. So if you do get behind someone, you either need to commit to wanting to get past or settling till they make a mistake and putting pressure on them. And for now, it looks like things have been put on ice as Lawrence has dipped back down off the back of De Vet for the meanwhile, giving him a bit of breathing room. Noah Hendricks, though, he's got a very vicious Porsche with an aggressive paint job that I very much approve of. Bright colors, they always catch my attention. De Kock and Hendricks, Ferrari versus Lamborghini, Ferrari versus Porsche. I'm doing all the wrong things when it comes to choosing favorite cars.
You're losing your naughty badges there, George.
That will be remembered. Thank you, George.
It will be noted.
It will be noted.
Notarized.
So can a funny story on that. RLM was doing a stream on NSX Hondas, which Tebo Moloto was racing in. So I was there supporting our local representative. And Ryan, one of the commentators there, kept on calling the Honda NSXs, it was an NSX Cup, he kept referring to them as Porsches. And it just so happens that his favorite car is a Lamborghini, so it's this weird, it's in a big weird circle kind of way, I just called the Porsche Lamborghini, and I probably will never live it down. So, you know, you guys can roast me, Richard. I know that you're going to love it as a Bentley driver that used to drive Porsches. I feel like Eddie can have the most to say because he still drives Porsches, but
as
I mean,
a fellow Porsche driver, I will forgive you, George.
Oh, thank you.
Because we are the bigger people as Porsche drivers.
You know, Eddie just coming and taking all my thunder and making it go away. Thank you.
Do you, Richard, as a dirty Bentley driver, want to forgive me as well, or is it only the Porsche sportsmanship that will show?
I'll let it go, seeing as you let me go for calling. What did I call? I called something a Porsche a while ago as well. So you let that go. We can let bygones be bygones and focus on this knife fight that is gonna. I think Jason's gonna be making a move. Look at this. Look at how this gap is just getting closer and closer and closer. He is sizing this man up and ready to make a move. I think we're going to be seeing it here in the next 2 laps.
What I want any newcomers to sim racing watching, what I want you guys to take away from this race you're seeing now, Jason is not just diving into every corner. He knows he might be faster, but he's not trying his luck every corner. He's waiting. He's looking for where is the best place to pass. So he knows he's got 15 laps to go at least. So don't just dive every spot you get. Take your time, dissect your opponent, figure out where you can force him into a mistake, or where you can lull him into maybe not paying that much attention to you, and that's where you do your move.
Well, I think that's exactly what Jason's been lining up. He's gotten himself into a position where he can still be flat out, and he's not driving right on his bumper, causing him to, really have to back off in parts. But right there, Bruno's just slight little mistake coming out of Crocodile there is going to cost him. It's costing him all the way up here to Ingwe, so we're going to potentially see quite a decent run coming out through the main straight on Jason. Gee, what do you think about
that?
This?
Mercedes just gets out of a corner so well.
No problem.
Oh, there is only one battle on track, and we cut away from it.
Well, we cut back. We cut right back to it. There we go. No, I think you're 100% right though, Eddie. This is definitely the image of a man who is just taking his time, because you also do have the pit stop coming up. So right now, all he's doing is conserving fuel, conserving tires, just sitting in that slip, keeping him right there. I think he's got him pretty dialed in. I think he, at this point, has seen where Bruno's been making mistakes, seen where Bruno's been weak, and you can see where that Porsche's been particularly strong as well.
Also, in an hour-long race with forced tire changes, you don't even have to look after your tires. You can push and lean on your opponent lap after lap after lap, without running out of 2 laps towards the end because you don't have tires anymore. So I'm thoroughly impressed with Jason. This is an amazing drive, and not an easy track to follow. And never mind not being an easy track to follow, for a leading driver it is difficult to follow, as we see Jason just having a little look there, but not close enough to make it happen.
I think that's an important element. Just show that nose. Remind him that you're there. You're getting close enough that their proximity radar is starting to come up. The spotter might come up, car on the right. That throws you in that moment. You might not be focusing as you shouldn't be. If you're in the front, you shouldn't be having to look up every 2 seconds into your mirror. You should be looking ahead, trying to focus on what's going on, but at the same time, thinking about that defensive driving that you actually have to be constantly engaged in. So it's really important. Yeah, sorry.
The more you can get your opponent to look at his mirror, the less your opponent is looking at his own braking markers.
Exactly.
So you just show a little bit of nose just before you get to the braking markers, and you stand that chance of just throwing your opponent off. Obviously, we're not talking about Bruno Cadile. He's not the opponent you're going to catch out with a little trick here or there. Jason is going to have to find the smart race somewhere in this to get past. But that is, don't play the game, play the player. Try put your opponent off by being smarter with your driving.
Well, I think that's what we're seeing here. I'm so glad you're touching on this, because we are seeing that. I think it's really important to keep that pressure, as we've been saying. He's just never letting up, but at the same time, he's driving his race. He's making sure Bruno is kept well under pressure, and it's showing. Bruno is diving. Well, I won't say diving, but he's taking very defensive lines into some of those corners, and it's just allowing Jason to stay right there.
I mean, we can see it in Jason's style. He's not desperate. He's not the guy trying to dive here or trying to look, can I get past here? Is this my corner? He's just applying the pressure evenly. And it's Kadile who's going defensive when there's no move happening. It's Kadile trying to take a defensive line going down the straight when it's not necessary yet. And that's all the pressure Jason's been putting onto him.
Yeah. Well, between the two of them, I've been monitoring their last lap times between the two of them, and absolutely nothing between the two of them in terms of lap times. They are both lapping very equally, if not both on the same rails. They have been right on it. The last between Bruno is 1:42.423 and Jason 1:42.405. So, Jason does have a little bit of extra pace, but I don't think it's we're not going to see him drive past. And I do believe we're joined by G. Welcome back, G.
Thank you. Milo is back under control. It is her birthday today, 1 year old for my little doggo.
Happy birthday, Milo.
So she has been celebrating out with the other dogs in the yard. Her milkshake is better than theirs for sure, and she has a new coat to show them. So,
Did you
Jason,
let them out?
I have not let any dogs out.
So who will let the dogs out?
I'm not sure, but at the moment we're hoping that Jason has got some dogs to let out and catch up to Kadili at the point. Like Rich was saying, their lap times for the last 3 laps really have been pretty close together. Jason does seem to have an extra 10th in terms of race pace so far. Both of them doing low 142s, separated by a 10th. But that doesn't matter. The car in the front is the one that will take the checkered flag at the end of the day. 36 minutes of racing remain. And right now, we really do just see the closest battle on track being here, as well as Noah Hendricks and Victor de Kock. So these two are, again, going to just pique my interest on the timing sheet, as Hendricks seems to be holding off de Kock in that Porsche again. And it does look like Hendricks does enjoy the final sector a little bit more. He seems to space himself out, and coming back up the hill at the chase towards Leeuwcorp, that Porsche from de Kock seems to reel in the Ferrari.
I'm starting to wonder if de Kock might not have some rear wing damage. In my experience, the Porsche tends to lose top end when you get some aero damage, and we can see on the screen now that Ferrari just pulling away from the Porsche as we get to the higher end of the speeds. So
And
I'm wondering if de Kock is maybe a bit stuck here now because his car is maybe a little bit damaged.
It's a point to prove. He did get a rear knock during that incident with the netcode, and at that point, picking up a bit of rear aero damage, not going to be the greatest thing. But it's a decision that you have to make. Do you go in and take that 1 minute of 30 repair time that generally happens when you get sort of a shunt to your front or rear aero? It doesn't even feel like it's big, but when you go into that little MFD on your in-game driving controls for your pit stop, you can see just what your pit stop will do, whether it's changing tires or just doing repairs. And generally in a race like this, you don't want to go in for repairs unless you can, help it. So maybe you're going to just use that with his pit stop. He might go and repair it and come out with a new car right at the end, or just forgo on the repairs entirely and just put on the new tires like they have to do. So a couple of drivers have obviously done their pit stops. You see those indicated by those little green marks next to their names. But, for our leaders and the top 10, none of them have gone into the pits just yet. And we're coming up to that time that we like to talk about it, because this is generally where guys start to do it.
Oh, well, I was just going to say, off screen, we currently missed Jason having a little bit of a driftski moment. I think you would have enjoyed that, G. Coming very sideways at the end of Sunset. So just a little bit of time to Bruno, but it doesn't seem to have affected much coming through the back end traffic. he's right back there, half a second behind him, so it didn't really lose much, but worth mentioning. I think you would have enjoyed that.
Sorry, I was just fixing some of the sound issues that may have been coming on my side. So our teams, I don't know why it doesn't want to mute entirely into the stream. So if you guys do hear TeamSpeak notifications, they are meant to be off, and I have no idea why they keep popping on. I'm gonna just try and make sure that they are turned off on my side. Sorry, while you can just talk us through some of the battles, just while I try and fix this, please, Rich.
Yeah, no worries. We also seem to have lost Eddie, so it is currently just me. But at the moment on screen, we've got obviously Noah Hendricks and Victor de Kock. These two absolutely, I really do have to agree, though. I think this Porsche really does have picked up some rear end damage, because he looks like he's going to be having a fantastic run. He gets to the next section, and it doesn't seem like he's doing very well. On that note, Jason Absmeyer coming into the pits, he's definitely going to be going for the undercut there with 32 minutes left of the race. That's going to let Bruno have a little bit of breathing room, and I think just potentially it's going to give him just that break-in pressure that we were talking about earlier. You know, Jason bringing on the constant pressure for 30 minutes. Bruno now with a good solid little bit of clean track, he can start to really just open the taps, but dealing with a bit of back-end traffic, it can't be fun though. Currently it looks as if Victor de Kock have also currently on his own. I don't know if G can hear me, if he's potentially able to give me someone else on screen. Currently with our race leader, Bruno coming in with some stellar times. Currently, is he our fastest out on circuit? He is.
Okay, so I'm back. Yeah, I don't know if we'll ever get these notifications muted. We'll just have to sort that out for our next stream in terms of what we do. But yeah, that side's not going to be sorted out. Eddie did mention in our chat box that his mic side was sounding robotic from all of our side, which is what I was trying to just make sure wasn't on my end. So on that front, Eddie will be joining us shortly. I just wanted to point out that Jason did decide to jump into the pit, so obviously going for a bit of an undercut, trying to do something on Bruno, who he wasn't quite catching in terms of being able to make a pass. Obviously, it was bothering him and being able to tuck into the slip, but not able to get the move done. So he's gone for a bit of an early pit stop. So it will be interesting to see whether early pit stops here at Kyalami are going to work out. It's not going to be super early because Bruno's going to respond almost immediately. And Bruno going to go into the pits to do his pit stop too. So let's see where Bruno comes out. Jason's jump into the pits work out. You can follow Bruno on your side for me, Rich. We'll 100%. Keep track of where Jason is on the track. He's currently making his way up to Leeuwkop for the difficult left-hander, completely blind as you come up. Really, it's not one that's easy to navigate. Then you've got all the freedom in the world to wind the Porsche motor wide open, flat down through mine shaft before you have to get hard onto the brakes for the right-hander. That is Crocodile, and of course you want to apex it, hit that apex so you can get the drive out and get the speed that you need to carry through the ever so scary cheetah. Of course, you see that Worsi on the inside. You want to avoid it as much as possible. Moving. And Bruno going to start moving. Is Jason going to come down the start finish straight? There's going to be a run of speed. I don't think that this is going to be enough for or could be enough for Jason. In fact, he's going to have the speed coming down as Bruno coming down out of the pit lane. They'll go almost side by side into Crowthorne, I believe. I can't quite see. No, they won't. No. Cadiel will get out in front. And that is the pit stop plan not working out just as Jason would have liked it. He's fallen off a little bit behind the back of Kadili now. But Kadili, of course, planning his pit stop in response and not allowing the undercut to really take effect. Let me just drag Eddie into our commentator's booth here, and we'll hear the in-game TeamSpeak sounds that I cannot mute. So let's just never use the notification side or figure out how to mute it properly, because if I mute it, hard mute it where I want to, and that seems the only way to do it, I just lose my co-casters. So for now, I brought Eddie back. Eddie, are you here with us again?
I am, yes.
Okay. So we off screen we just saw a bit of an undercut attempt from Jason that didn't quite work out. So that means that our leaders have now got themselves caught up behind a little bit of traffic. Of course, Tsebo going to get himself well out of the way on the run down to Mineshaft, obeying what he feels is correct in terms of the blue flags that he would be getting, and doing the right thing, jumping out of the way, not involving himself in the battle. And once again, we will see the knife fight continue, Eddie.
My apologies, I'm not quite back in yet. It seems there might be some...
Well, Richard, your side, I mean,
ACC
we're going to see
Well,
Absmeyer coming back onto Kadili again, and
I think it's quite amazing how the sorry to cut you off there, G, but I've been wanting to say, I think it's absolutely incredible that these guys went into the pit lane and came out the pit lane pretty much where they went in. It's quite incredible to show. Oh, Jason having a little touch of a little understeer there, missing the apex quite badly, but doesn't hurt him too badly as he comes up through here, turning into barbecue. Gee, I don't know about you, but I think Jason's now going to have to really start to push. I think this plan of sitting behind Bruno and hoping to potentially capitalize on a mistake is not really going to work out for him. I don't think Bruno's is the kind of driver who is going to be making those kinds of silly mistakes towards the last 27 minutes of this race.
No, I think you're right. I think it's definitely time to find some more of the right wheelie boots and plant it deeper down onto that gas pedal, because at this point in the time, if Kadili holds off Jason doesn't get any closer to where he wants to get to Kleb. Kleb, I think in Spandex's calculations, actually doesn't... He has to like DNF for them to tie up. So I think that Kleb is going to still get points, even if Jason wins here and Kleb finishes in 7th. But we'll need confirmation from our mathematics genius.
Yeah, Kleb would have had to win the race and have Jason
making
retire.
A move by instincts. Sorry to cut you off there, Eddie, but on my screen there, Jason looked like he showed a lot of nose trying to force him wide coming through Crocodile there.
He might actually get a good run going down the main straight here. Cadil had a bit of trouble coming through the water roll. And now Jason just needs to get into that slipstream. Cadil already defensive, and they're not even halfway down the straight.
Very defensive. This is going to cause exactly what Jason needs. This is going to be a fantastic opportunity for a cutback here for Jason. Very defensive from Bruno. Plants the bus, absolutely sticks it, continues to be very defensive, making that AMG as wide as possible. Jason making a move on the outside, potentially with another... Oh no, he's just struggling with these cutbacks. Bruno making that car as wide as possible, but it's a drag race as they head up to Sunset. Too wide coming into Sunset. This is going to be fantastic driving, fantastic racing from these two drivers. G, any thoughts on this? I'm sure you're loving this at the moment. Your driver getting very much involved.
I'm absolutely loving it and keeping things clean. They do have a little bit of a touch there. Jason does let off to let Kadili take back his rightful spots in front, and now we'll give them a little bit of a breathing room, but these two drivers are going to be fighting it out neck and neck for the next 25 minutes. Like Richard touched on earlier, not drivers that we see make mistakes very often, and given the fact that they've raced so close together throughout the entire duration of the race, they very much would be aware of one another's driving styles and driving habits, where they would be braking and where they would be wanting to get things done. Coming down into the Crocodile now, Jason, of course, going to be trying to sweep around and get a bit of a wider angle to run through, and it's a drive-through for Kadili, and that's going to throw away that battle. Bruno obliterating the track limits, it seems, that he had racked up, and going to be awarded a drive-through penalty for that. So Jason going to be awarded something for free and be smiling about it.
Yeah, no, he just now has to keep things together, keep it tidy, keep it on the black stuff, and he's going to walk away with a very tidy first place. Because Dion Cup obviously still needing to pit. He's our current race leader, but obviously still needing to make that pit. I think we're going to see an easy win for Jason here today.
I mean,
did Kadile get his penalty because he cut the track and got the 4 warnings, I'm assuming?
It would be the only way that he could have got it. We don't have any live stewards.
Put it out there that is 100% the pressure Jason was putting on Kadile that forced him to run wide at least 4 times and then brings on the drive-through penalty.
Yeah, because of course the way that the drive-throughs have kind of been reworked in ACC are quite cool. You do get a notification if you do run off track where it tells you if you've gained time or not gained time. If you've gained time, you get a warning. If you don't gain time, you're just sort of told that you went off track but no time gained. So at that sort of that sort of pressure, you're not kind of lifting off when you are going off track and you are gaining time. So like you said, Eddie, it probably comes down to that driving style and the driving pressure that was being put on, and it will not come down to the gap that Dejan Kapp can get himself ahead of Jason Absmeyer if he wants to secure that victory at this point in time. But not anyone to discount at this point. Anything can happen. Bruno, not someone to just take a drive through and not come back with it, Eddie.
No, Dejan Kapp, his race is not so much with Absmeyer. He needs to make up time to try and leapfrog Basson for what would effectively be second place now. Used to be third. Dejan, if he's put in the good time, he might actually just split Basson and Kadile for fourth position after what will effectively be third position when he comes out of the pits.
Yeah, so he's going for a bit of a late pit strategy. Of course, everybody else has gone into the pits now, and he will be the lone ranger out on track on the old set of Pirellis. Everybody else fresh sets of tire. If you guys weren't here at the start of the race, there is a mandatory stop where you do have to do a tire change. So you can fuel for as long as you want, but you do have to switch out your tires, which allows people to drive their cars on their limits, as we see Dejan go quite wide coming out of Cheetah. Did not look like the Bentley Boatley Traitor's car, if it's referred to as Richards. It didn't look like it really cared about being off track.
Scientific terms here, it's okay. We can use the common tongue.
Yeah.
I mean, do you have anything to add about how the Bentley drives here, Kyalami? We'll give you some time.
No, well, one of the things that's quite notable about the Bentley here is through sunset, how you can trail brake it. Possibly has to be one of the funnest things about this track is you get it up to fifth, you short shift a little bit early, and as you get there, you shift it down, there's just something so magical. As you can see, this corner he's in now, and if you can plant that apex, it's like a positive camber corner. It just holds. This Bentley's so heavy, it's just got so much traction. It really is so much fun around this track.
I mean, it's also one of the cars that we can most definitely add some comments on from real life. The Bentley in real life at the Kyalami 9 Hour was deafeningly loud.
That's a good way of putting it. Like, I think in most of my videos where I'm shouting Bentley as it comes past, you can't even hear me. It's just the Bentley.
Were you a Bentley fan during the 9 Hour? I thought you were still a Porsche boy back then.
Gee, I've been a Bentley fan in motorsport alongside Porsche since I was a small kid, man. That Bentley Speed 8 that used to run in the Le Mans 24 Hours, possibly one of my favorite racing cars.
Okay.
So it's not
Boating
just that.
really runs in the blood.
Yeah, surname like Herring, boats are there somewhere.
Is that a nautical reference?
Well,
fishing reference?
Fishing reference, I'm from
England. Eddie would have got the fishing one.
Yeah. But yeah,
what is a red herring? What is the saying about a red herring? Isn't it a bad sign?
No, a red herring is a literary device where you pull somebody's attention to a object that later in the plot turns out to be not important or has nothing to do with the plot. It is a way of fooling the audience into not seeing the true intentions.
I.e. wasting their time.
Yes.
Did he just call you a time waster on my stream?
I think he did, in a very roundabout way.
No, I just said what a red herring is. Richard called himself a time waster.
Yes. All right, well, moving along.
So can we also just take some time to just thank our chat for, the loyal chat for always being here and supporting us during our antics on the casting side of things. We appreciate you guys here. We appreciate your comments. We see Bats Hugo's here as well, from Raceface. We'll be casting some Raceface things tomorrow. So, some Thursday night Raceface. If you guys are looking for some action, come and join us on the Raceface channel tomorrow. From my side, I just want to, thank you guys as my co-casters. It's been a great season so far, and I'm looking forward to more things in the future. Of course, we've got some big plans that we've chatted out on the production side. It's not just the drivers that put in some, off-camera efforts. There's times where we meet up and we discuss some stuff and things. And I'm looking forward to what we've got planned for the future together.
There's some big stuff
I
coming.
just had a sneak peek. There's already 18 guys signed up for Season 2 of the Dominus ACC League. And if all the broadcasting plans come together, I'm sure everyone at home is in for a fantastic season. And might bring you that little bit closer to the action than people have gotten used to.
Shani in chat, we've seen you multiple times. Obviously, love the support coming over. Big community on the COD side of things, and like that you've joined us in enjoying sim racing. Colin there in the chat as well. Colin Hasty from Race Day. He should be in this race. I'm not quite sure why he's not. I'd love to hear. He has typed in there Porker's rule, so he's obviously trying to win some brownie points with myself and Eddie. Not so much with traitor Red Herring Angelus.
Waiting, it's coming. It's coming. You can also refer to me as Angie Poo if you feel it necessary.
No, my favorite pronunciation of your gaming name is 100% Angle Is.
Angle is, I like it.
So Angle is ZA. Angelus ZA on Twitter if you guys do want to follow him there. And of course, Spandex Cobra on Twitter as well. You guys can go and give my fellow friends a follow. We've also got a Monday Night Racing Discord, a Dominus Gaming Discord. There's plenty of places to follow us. I'm at ZA_GMax. If you want to follow what we do on the sim racing side of things, we've got 17 minutes at Kyalami. Our guys are all kind of settling themselves into their trains, coming into that last 10-minute sort of shootout. That's where you really want to get anything done if you can. Dion, finally going to go into the pits. So our race leader for now, Dion Cup, who has been holding off on that pit stop for so long, will finally go in to change over those tires, and I bet they'll be thanking him for it.
It's all now about where does Dion come out in accordance to who was it?
Basson.
Basson.
Yeah.
Because Cup was catching him before Basson went into the pits, and if Cup managed to use all that clean air to bought himself, he might just cut on the podium, yeah.
Well, Basson gonna round Ingwe now onto the start-finish straight. Where is Dion in I still see him in the pits on my side.
He's not moving in the pits currently. He's stationary.
Has he messed up this pit stop? Because it feels like he's been there for long. He does have to wait 30 seconds, so it does look like he is coming out. But Basson is going to leapfrog himself up into second place. Going to pass the blue flag Richards, getting out the way that he should. And for now, Basson doesn't have to worry about Cap, but don't discount him and don't discount Bruno. Bruno is someone that had to serve a drive-through penalty earlier, jumped down the order, and has found himself back into fourth place. So can we just appreciate that some of these guys are beyond human? And, normally for us, a drive-through penalty means we end at the end, and not quite the way. But Cap and Kadili going to have an easy exchange of positions. Kadili runs wide out of barbecue, and coming into sunset, Cap will run himself away.
Well, Bruno running quite wide there. I wonder if he had to pay to get back in. That's a lot wider than we've ever seen Bruno run in the past, frankly. I think there's a lot of gotta go right now with Bruno. I think he might be feeling it.
I mean, did they message each other before this race and say, what clothes are you wearing to work? Because both these cars painted very similarly, smatchy. As a color fan, I approve of, guys wearing the same clothes there. And definitely from different teams. And I know that wasn't coerced. So just an interesting style choice coming out from both of them. Maybe Dion feeling a bit motivated by the color scheme going on in Kadili's Silverback Racing Mercedes. Maybe he thinks the paint is the reason that Kadili is so fast and currently the champion of the season. I mean, it doesn't matter where Kadili finishes here. He will finish a victor and will get that first place in the championship season. I mean, that's just the points lead that he had. So, just a monster driver. Didn't have the competition throughout the league. Of course, we mentioned that earlier. A couple of technical issues from some drivers meant that they couldn't compete. And really, the consistency in league racing is everything. If you can sign up and show up at every league race, I promise you, when it comes to the end of the season, your position on that leaderboard will be improved. Even look at, like we mentioned, Victor de Kock didn't manage to get through to a couple of races. still currently sits in 10th position on the overall leaderboard, and currently lapping around in 8th place. He's got Minar that he needs to chase down if he wants to find that 7th position. Is damaged up and struggling with a damaged Porsche. But Richard, would you be okay with an 8th place finish here at Kyalami?
Considering the guys who I'm up against here, I'd be quite happy with that finishing. Frankly, there's some absolute talent that's in this field. So,
can we do a full rundown? I'll pan the cameras as we run down. You run through their team names and their driver names and their car numbers. So like a little bit of a slower rotation around. As I go through, you'll see them pop up at the bottom, right? So we can start here with.
All right, so Jason Absmeyer, obviously with the White Rabbit Gaming, number 90 car. He leads our race currently. Going into second position, Christos Basson in Amped to Play Rensport, I believe, in the car 37 car. Jan Cup, third position. WRG2 in the 123 car. A little bit of trivia. This was actually my dad's karting number, 123, when we raced. So I always do enjoy seeing this number make its appearance.
Some quick trivia there as well. It's always my password, but carrying on.
Good. Now everyone knows. All right, Bruno Cadile, fourth position, Silverback Racing, car number 88. Like you said, matchy to the car in third position. All right. Stark Buerta, Amped to Play Rensport, car 81. I do love this livery. Very pretty car.
Any Porsche is pretty, and you can scream it.
Okay. No, I'm quite close to my microphone. I won't put everyone through that. Etienne Kleb, Amped to Play Rensport, the 78 car. That's also just an absolute stunner. JK Minar in KKR Racing, car 96.
A lone Lamborghini. Victor de Kock in VDK Motorsport, car 89, finds himself in 8th position. Definitely where he's going to be smiling. Noah Hendricks, he finds himself in 9th position, Amped to Play, car 907. Sean Buck, Logistical Nightmare, car number 22, finds himself rounding up the top 10. He's going to be very happy with this. I know he struggled a little bit this season to get his rhythm. I mean, Logistical Nightmare, something you want to talk about a little bit?
Well, the Logistical Nightmare is obviously the PlayStation GT Sport community that's chomping at the bit to get Assetto Corsa Competizione on the PlayStation 4. These guys are dying for it. And Sean Buck, he is the founder of the whole community. He's obviously a huge sim racing enthusiast, so he's got a PC side to it as well. Getting a little bit of a taste of the action. He comes back and gives the guys a little bit of feedback after how each race went, gives them a little bit of a sneak peek at what they can expect. But yeah, lots of fun. If you are on the PlayStation 4 and you're racing GT Sport, that's most definitely the place to be currently.
Yeah, and also cool that, to see that Sharks is out there representing and out to help everybody in the community, a great gentleman. And, I say this about a lot of people in sim racing, and there really are a lot of honest, good people in the community. And if you guys are on the PlayStation or you got friends on the PlayStation that want to look for something, Logistical Nightmare, they've got a Discord. You guys must definitely go and check them out. You guys got a Facebook page as well, I believe, or they've got a Facebook page?
Facebook page, Instagram page, there's a Twitter page, LNR_ZA, most likely the easiest one to find on Twitter. So come find it there. The Discord is pinned at the very top, so very easy for people to come and join in.
And I mean, you also run a racing team in the GT Sport community, EKZ.
Yes.
And of course, you guys recruit drivers. You have a great community of drivers and painters and all kinds of things. And you guys also have a Discord, right?
That is true. We have a fantastic painter. Shout out to our livery god Phantom, Mr. Jaden, also joined us at the 9 hour. But big shout out to one of our teams, the EKZ Racing, current LNR champions. So they absolutely caned it last season, coming through with the clutch the very end. So that was quite exciting to see.
Yeah, so if you guys are interested in getting into the console side of things, or you're looking to find teams or communities to join, just make sure you jump over to the Discords. All of these can be referenced and linked, of course, through any of the other Discords in the sim racing community. Dominus has links there. Monday Night Racing has links there. I know that the Race Face Discord has links there as well. So everybody's here to spread the love of racing, and all that we care about is getting as many bums in seats and as many guys on track and getting them race ready. So if you guys do want to come and get race ready, you're not ready for the big leagues like the on track things here. Monday Night Racing on Monday nights, a great fun place to come. If you new to sim racing, you want to join the AM lobbies. We've got plenty of drivers signing up and plenty of track time. We do go through the replays of the the first lap incidents to make sure we can help people get better. So if you do want to join the Monday Night Racing Discord, that's a great place to get your toes into the world of sim racing. I promise you, it's addictive. You will completely forget about everything else, your wife, your life, your wallet as well, and you'll just kind of disregard it. So we're into that closing 10 minutes, Richard and Eddie, which means that it will be the knife fight battles for position, and this will be the final positions that they will secure and take home.
Well, I see J.K. Minnar, he's managed to close the gap quite nicely back up to Etienne Kleb. Wanted to see if Peanut can make a nuisance of himself. He has definitely turned on the fire a little bit, but someone I do want to talk about and their fire is Jason Absmeyer, because only recently has he toned it down a little bit. This man lapped consistently in the low 141s, I'd say for the last 5 laps. He has really, really cemented this little gap that he's got now to second place, and I don't think there's
Minnar, he is going to try and look onto Kleb, Richard. Like you said, he's lined him up in his sights. He wants to take a shot. It's not going to be the moment up through Cheetah and Ingwe. But, there's still another couple laps for him to try and do something. It looks like he's been held up behind Kleb for a little bit. He's really got a handle on that Lamborghini, and I believe that for a lot of people, they felt that the Lamborghini was a Twitch beast for a lot of the ACC season, which it was. But in recent updates, I've been led to believe that is a really fun car, quite stable now and a lot more manageable, which allows you to really beat down on the motor and really push it to where it should be. And right here, we see it battling against what is arguably the stablest car in ACC, the Aston Martin, and doing a good job of it, Rich. Eddie, are you still here? Sorry.
Oh, yes.
Okay, I just wanted to double check.
Yeah.
I've just been looking through some lap times to see if there's anything interesting happening there, but all I can report is that Jason's slowest lap time is still a hell of a lot faster than my fastest.
Well, it's going to be someone whose opinion I'd love to get on the updates to the Lamborghini as they're heading up to the top of Leeuwkop there. I think this is where J.K. Minnar makes a move. He does.
What a
stick!
What a move coming out. Like you said, Rich, there's so many lines at the top of Leeuwkop. Eddie, you can jump in there, but there's so many lines to do it. And what a line coming out there. So we can go through a little bit of a replay here, Eddie.
Sorry, where am I? So they're coming up towards Leeuwkop, and I think Kleb just maybe over-defending a little bit and going just too deep, and there you have Minnar getting the inside line, getting the driver that V12. And I also noticed in the YouTube chat, the leader of Am2 Race, Mr. Albertine, was suggesting that there might be something wrong with Kleb's setup today. He is not driving as well as he thought he was going to drive in this race.
Yeah, and it's going to be a tough defense for Minnar to hold on to that position. We do know that Etienne Kleb is a driver to note, setup or not, someone you don't want to have to fight on track. And, good bit of driving coming out from Minnar to even get past him. We know how wide he can make his cars, and a good, solid bit of overtaking at the top of Leeuwkop. Planned it perfectly. Minnar gets the drive away. I see Pixel also commenting that the Lambo is great now, that he will be driving it with Minnar in Season 2. So that's great to hear. Some new entrants coming into the fray, and Minnar in his Kaikei. I mean, we can just talk about Kaikei Racing as well. Of course, founded by Tebo Maloto. Their cars on the grid looking like a bit of bubblegum ice cream.
They have liveries I can respect. I mean, they dress like we used to dress back in the late 80s, which I am 100% in favor of.
I feel like they dress how I still dress. Is Vivstar going to get waved the blue flags down through Mineshaft? Going to lift and let Kleb and Minnar go through. Something we don't always get to touch on. Some streams we do. we get to note that driving etiquette from the back markers is of top-notch standard, making sure to not, interfere with the race leaders or people that are on laps in front of them. I love that bit of sportsmanship. I love guys that obey the blue flags, and that's things that are encouraged, and if you don't do it, you are punished for it. So, I highlight it as a good thing, but if you don't do it, you're also in trouble. So, just a shout out. Thanks for doing it. It makes for clean racing, and, you don't want to deal with leaders at the end that are complaining about back markers holding up battles, and, it just makes for things to turn sour.
G, it's worth mentioning actually to the viewers who are maybe not so familiar with a setter's HUD and how it's set up. It's not an obvious thing, these blue flags and lights. You've actually got to be on the ball. You've got to be making sure that the leaders are behind you and they're close enough. You see the marshals waving. I mean, the flag light indicator is what? Just this tiny little sliver on the top of this top left-hand corner of the screen. So it's arguably quite missable in some respects.
We actually had this problem on Monday night at Laguna Seca, where it is exceptionally difficult to actually see the marshals waving the flags, especially in the third section of the track. We had a couple of guys getting into trouble with leaders trying to lap them, completely unaware that they're being lapped.
Yeah. So, I mean, big ups to the guys who are being, really well behaved when it comes to the actual flag regulations here.
Somebody who's just falling into more trouble, though, is Etienne Kleb. He's now got Victor de Kock screaming up behind him. De Kock maybe fixing his damage in his pit stop, but he's moments away from making Kleb's night even worse.
Yeah, like you said, I mean, it does look like Kleb may be struggling with a bit of setup, a bit of inside information from the team owner coming through into the chat as well. But we knew that the Cock picked up the damage. Whether he repaired it or not, we don't know, but it might be a battle of the broken cars. And right now, it looks like the Cock is feeling a little bit more comfortable. Kleb going to see if he needs to go defensive on the inside at Crowthorne, but the Cock going to follow him through as they make their way through the Yuxke sweep. And once again, this is a part of the track where you just have to make sure that you're following close and safely enough that the driver coming through slowly on the exit of Barbecue doesn't tangle you up. So, good clean driving coming out. You want to stay in the slip. You want to keep yourself in the battle the whole way through. And I think that's what Victor is trying to do. And of course, we've mentioned it before. Kleb, so difficult to pass, so good on the defense. And it really will be hard work for De Kock to try and squeeze his way past with a minute to go.
Tell you that Mr. Buck has managed to get himself past Sean de Vet, and he did so just before Absmeyer was coming to lap them. So he managed, and they're on the final lap as well. So Buck managing to get his pass done in the perfect time, get past de Vet and then have de Vet stuck being lapped for a bit.
Well, I think that jumping out of the way for the blue flags may have hurt Buck a little bit because de Vet is right there on him. But I mean, Buck doing some solid defending coming through the last bit of the Yuxke sweep and running off through Barbecue. Like G saying, de Vet also doing brilliantly to make sure he doesn't get tangled when Buck does park the bus there.
We've got our drone back out and running today.
I see, so
piloted by the young G-Max himself.
It's worth mentioning how just exceptional these flying skills have gotten from the beginning of when we first discovered this mode. I mean, evident in itself with what we're seeing right now.
Yeah, it's difficult for me to drone and talk though when we go through it, so I do appreciate you guys helping me out, as the controls are really not the easiest thing in the world to line up.
It's unfortunate. Oh no, wait, mind you, the stream would be seeing the livery you're showing, yes. So everybody's seeing that beautiful White Rabbit Gaming livery. We really hope that they implement this custom liveries even more in ACC. Jason just gone past the Boerewors one last time into Ingwe. And this will bring to an end the Season 2 of Dominus Gaming GT, with Jason Absmeyer taking the Kyalami win. A win he's been looking for since the Solidarity race, to be honest.
Yeah, a great race coming out, and a great race actually coming out from everybody tonight. It was unfortunate for the drive-through coming out for Bruno as we jump back to Basson, who will finish in second place. So a phenomenal drive coming out of Porsche 1-2 as we bring up the HUD there. Dian Cup, he's going to cross the line in third with his Bentley, with Bruno Kadili going to cross the line finally in fourth. But he is our championship leader and our winner for season 1. So we're hopefully going to get some guys in for some driver interviews post-race here as we just run through the final closing order. Fifth place for Stark Buerta in the number 81, with JK Manar going to cross the line in 6th. Etienne Klep will come across the line in 7th, holding off the Cock, who couldn't get past for 8th. 9th, Noah Hendricks, who hasn't quite finished the race or come to the start-finish line, so we get to watch him come through Cheetah for the final time. There's also a little hut that we hid away from in the rainstorm, just on that corner there. You can actually, no, you can't see it yet. It's behind all the people. The smoke on the start-finish straight as the fireworks have gone off during the daytime. As finally Hendricks will cross the line in 9th. Stefan de Vet, who has finished the lap already. Sorry, Sean Buck, who's finished already, down in 10th. Lawrence in 11th. Jobert in 12th. Paolo in 13th. Richards in 14th and 15th for Meloto. An unfortunate drive for him with a bit of a stop-go penalty, but still managing to get that Kai K Porsche round the bubblegum flavored porker. Will cross the line for 14th place. And that will round up our entire list. Let me just pull up the timetables for the final time as you guys can see them. This has been season 1. It's been absolutely so much fun, Richard. And Eddie, I want to hear your thoughts on the race, and we'll obviously get some drivers in for some interviews.
My big takeaway from this is it's just the novelty is still there. I could do this again. Just let's just start them again. Let them qualify again, and let's just go. I love this track. I love casting it. Doing it with you guys always obviously a treat. So yeah, I'm ready. Let's just go again.
From my side, just watching Kadile and Absmeyer was a pure masterclass in how one should sim race. And the whole field really, like, we didn't have any incidents we should look at or fingers we can point. It was just all around proper decent racing, and that's what gave us a decent race to watch in the end of the day.
Oh yeah.
I'm thinking we've got some interviews lined up.
I believe we have.
No, I can see the first person is already there. I'll drag them in for you as soon as you're ready.
Wait, let me just make sure that we're gonna have our Discord audio coming through. We should. I'm gonna have to unmute myself there, so you guys will have an echo, but that's okay. Let me unmute my Discord. Okay, you can drag Bruno in here. So we've got Bruno, of course, our champion. That will come into the channel. Let me just make sure. Bruno might not be able to talk in this channel.
Yeah, I'll drag you both to another one.
Okay, cool. We can go to a different one. Okay, so interview queue. Does Bruno have push to talk right here? Hopefully he does. We're just waiting on Bruno. Well, actually, we're waiting on us because
I'm gonna have to.
Otherwise, we can just use Discord as well. I mean, TeamSpeak.
No, there we've got him now.
Okay.
You should be able to talk to him in Discord.
Bruno, can you hear me in Discord?
I can indeed.
Yeah, we have our season 1 champion, Bruno Kadili, here in the comms box. Bruno, not a great race there getting the drive-through penalty, but it didn't really matter, right? I mean, you knew that you were going to get this championship position at the end of the day.
Yeah, it was always going to be a tough race coming into Kyalami in the Mercedes, but I knew Jason was a lot quicker than me, and I was trying my best just to keep him behind me. But overall, not too bad. I think I extracted a little bit more pace from the car. The car was a little bit quicker than I last drove it at Kyalami, because I've been struggling in the Merc at this track, so I knew it was always going to be. But yeah, I got the drive-through, which was unfortunate, but I just didn't quite have enough pace to actually take a proper fight to Jason. But he drove well, he pressured me well, and he got a good win. And then after the drive-through, that was it. I just kind of just settled in for the 4th position.
Yeah, I mean, after you get that kind of a drive-through, I mean, it's like, oh well, I didn't need the victory anyway. I was having a good time holding Jason up. I mean, we could just see you guys were having a good time out on track. And was it, it was something that Eddie actually mentioned. Was it the pressure from Jason, putting that on you that actually led to the drive-through?
You know, he was so much faster than me. I was obviously driving the best I can, but he was just so much quicker. And I was already on my third warning, and then I saw him. He was planning to go on the inside at that corner already a few laps before, and I knew he was going to do it. And I had to kind of brake as hard as I could. And then I ran a bit wide, and that was enough to warrant the penalty. So a bit of unlucky, but also just, you know, Jason was so much more quicker, and it was difficult to actually keep him behind me. I should have actually just let him go, you know.
Well, I mean,
time.
you wouldn't be a race driver if you you were just letting people by. So, you know, just as an overall look at the entire season, Eddie, am I right in saying that Bruno had 7 wins for the whole championship?
7 wins, 9 podiums. Well, 8. No, not to win tonight. So 7 wins, 9 podiums, and before tonight's points, 391 points.
Yeah. So I mean,
sorry, wrong button. Yes, 7 wins, 9 podiums.
No, that's perfect. I mean, like that's exactly it, Bruno. You've had a great season here so far. Have you enjoyed the Dominus season?
Oh, yes, I have. It's been a lot of fun. I have no regrets participating. If I didn't participate, I wouldn't have raced against the likes of Jason. You know, I wouldn't have got to know you guys better on the stream. So I have enjoyed it. I think it's a lot of fun. And I think the guys out there, if you want to test your racing skills, I think Dominus Gaming offers a great championship. So yes, I've had a lot of fun. I've enjoyed myself, had some great races, and I look forward to more.
Well, thanks, Bruno. It's been great having you here, and congratulations on the win, of course. And looking forward to season 2, and of course other racing things that we see you in.
Thank you very much. It's been a pleasure.
We have Etienne Kleb here now from Amp to Race.
So, Etienne, can you hear us here in the comms box side of things?
Yeah. How are you guys doing?
Are we doing fantastic, man? It's good to have you here. Let me just bump your audio up a little bit on my side, just so that I can hear you a little bit clearer. Etienne, so run us through your Kyalami race.
I just planned on finishing the race. That was the game plan. Just finish it because I know I just needed 1 point. So try and help the guys in front of me, the Rent Sport guys in front of me, so that they can get the maximum points and be a buffer between them and the guys.
Okay. So, and in terms of your car's setup, we had some words in the stream from your race engineer, Mr. Franco Albertine. He said that you weren't so comfortable with the setup. Was the setup actually okay? It was all strategic positioning, really, then.
It was strategic, yes, but the front tires go off extremely fast on the Aston. When you come out of the pits, I was putting in 42 4s or 5s or somewhere there, which is a comfortable race pace. But then, like 5 or 6 to that, the tires go down in the front, and then you start understeering, and then it becomes a problem. Then I was dropping to 144s and above, so it was a bit of a struggle, yeah.
Okay, but I mean, overall, you still secured second place in the championship, I believe. Is that right? Am I right in this? Have I calculated right?
No, I think Kleb would end up third with Jason in second. But I stand to be corrected. I might be wrong.
I mean, we still have to, we were hoping that Gaz would have this updated for us here so that we would know in terms of the standings, just the final run through. Because, I mean, it's always a run down to the line, which is the greatest thing about these championships. And I knew that there was a little bit of a buffer there. You said that you would have 1 point clear there, which is interesting to hear. So we're still waiting for confirmation on the final standings then. But Etienne, the rest of the season, what are your feels? Did you enjoy it? Are there things that you would, want to see change? Do we need more weather races, nighttime races?
If you guys are going to do rain races, I'm definitely sticking with Aston for sure. It was an awesome event. Thanks to all you guys. It really was a great show. And to play Rent Sport, it's going to change to Rent Sport now. And then I'm also anxious to see what Basson's going to do with his new wheel that he's going to get for the next season. So everything was perfect. Whatever you guys do in the future, I'm sure it's going to be a success.
Oh, well, thanks, Etienne. We appreciate it on my side. Eddie, is there anything that you want to ask the man himself?
No, I'm just congratulations on a great season, Etienne. I mean, from when we've met you to now, on my quick math, yeah, you would take second place in the league. You've come a long way and you've really developed into a fantastic driver.
Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot. That means a lot. Yeah, since Project Cars 2 days. Yeah, I think a Project Cars is a good platform to learn how to catch cars, if you know what I mean, because those cars are oversteering. But yeah, it's been a long ride and a nice one. I enjoyed it immensely.
Good stuff, man.
And gee, we've got our third place finisher, Mr. Dion Cup, in here for an interview as well.
Oh, Mr. Dian Cup has joined. Oh, let me see if this is... Dian, can you hear us on my side? I have multiple push-to-talk methods, and I have no idea if they all work.
You guys, yes.
Okay, so Dian, third place in the Kyalami race here. What were the track conditions like?
At the beginning, it was pretty slippery, I would say. I was expecting a bit more grip, to be honest, but I don't think I wasn't expecting the Bentley to be competitive on this track at all. But it turned out to not be.
Well, I mean, Dian, you are a talented driver yourself. So, like I touched on in the stream, sometimes there's a car choice that kind of throws you off. Your Bentley was one of them. But seeing it on the podium just kind of goes to show that driver skill can get any car onto the podium at the end of the day. Do you think that on the tires side of things, it was good on tires, or was the tire change well needed?
I think I've been focusing a lot on keeping the tires alive during a stint, trying not to push too hard. So by the time I stopped, I pretty much just stopped because I had to stop. The tires were still fine. I was still hitting my lap times I was targeting. But after the stop, I definitely think I had an advantage in the cars in front. I was catching Basson very quickly. I wish I had another 5 laps and it might have been close.
Yeah, I mean, we saw you go for that late pit strategy, and I was kind of wondering, I mean, you don't do that if the car's not feeling, like it can do it. So it was good to see someone push it. Like you mentioned, the race length's not quite long enough to really get a good feel for pit strategies and tire usages. So, if you do put, you drive it all the way to that end, you only have a couple of laps with them feeling amazing, and it's like, I wish it could have lasted longer. So we could see that in your lap times, and it was good to see a Bentley up on the podium from Richard's side. He's a big Bentley fan. If we had just had 3 Porsches, I mean, you split Basson from getting up there. At the end of the day, if we had seen 3 Porsches, I think Richard would have had a bit of a fit about it.
Another Porsche 123 would have been not a nice way to end it. So, man, big ups for that. Awesome to see a Bentley on the podium there. And you brought the fire. I could see you on hitting every apex, just loving that Bentley every step.
It's not a car I'm used to driving, but I made it work somehow.
Is it something that you have to adapt to, sitting on the right side of a sim car after driving left-hand drive cars in the game?
Honestly, for me, it makes no difference, weirdly.
Okay.
It doesn't really bother me. It's like my brain adapts to it naturally.
Okay, that makes sense. For me, it's something that I just notice when I'm trying to get quicker somewhere in a short amount of time, that I just struggle to kind of see the apexes. What camera perspective do you drive, though? This is the question.
I generally use cockpit view. I did this race, but sometimes I do use bonnet view. It depends.
Okay. So if you guys want to know how to put a Bentley into third place, then get yourself into the bonnet view, or sometimes the cockpit view, or just get some lessons from Dian Cup. Dian, thanks for joining us in the comms box here today, and thanks for participating in DG, and of course, well done on your third place finish at Kyalami.
Cool. Thank you, guys. Thank you for the event. It was a lot of fun. Enjoyed it.
Cheers, Dian.
Cheers.
George, we've got Mr. J.K. Minnar here as our last interview tonight.
Awesome. So Peanuts himself, that's his nickname. Those that watch him in Assetto Corsa Competizione will know him as J.K. Minnar. Also the wild bubblegum themed Lamborghini driver. J.K., thanks for joining us, man. How was your race?
It started off a bit rough. The Lambo, I didn't honestly practice with heavy fuel loads in the car. Car was a little bit unstable the first few laps, but I just realized need to calm down, just get it around the track without killing.
And I mean, we kind of touched on the update side of things. I believe it has made the Lambo a little bit more stable. Can you confirm or deny the rumors that the Lamborghini is actually a car that is worth picking if you're a new driver?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, as you mentioned on the stream earlier, Pixel will be driving with me in season 2. We will both be driving the Lambo, and I mean, he is new to the sim. And yes, definitely it is a lot more stable. I came from the Porsche, went to the Aston Martin, get a car that's a bit more stable. And lately I've been loving the Lambo. I mean, I can actually get it around track. In fact, I would almost say it's easier than the Aston Martin at the moment.
I mean, that's something that I did want to also touch on. I mean, you are relatively new to sim racing as well. Relatively new in terms of compared to how long some of the other guys have been doing it. I mean, you've been putting a lot of hours into sim and it's been clean to see. A driver with probably the most improved progress throughout, from the starting points of just lapping 10 seconds behind anywhere's times, remember practicing with you. And then getting into, these races where you are just racing against some of the good guys. It's great to see. And for viewers out there, what is the secret ingredient? What's the secret sauce into sim racing? How do you get better quicker?
I'd say practice, just and also try follow faster people. Don't necessarily just give up on races because people are faster. Rather try and learn from them. Also videos. There's a lot of track guides out there that can help you a lot. And yeah, just time on the track. There's nothing better than the time to be.
Yeah, I think that goes for most things. I mean, seat time in practice. It's been a great time during the lockdown period for sim racing. I think a lot of the guys have been able to get a lot more seat time than they can get during the normal regular weeks. And I think that it's done a good thing for our community and enabling a lot of the guys to experience it at its full. I mean, we are fans of your guys' Kaike colored paint jobs. Are there any plans to bring anything bolder and brighter into season 2?
Definitely, we are busy working on our season 2 liveries. Obviously, we will be running a few different cars. We won't be just running the Porsche like myself and Tebo Moloto this season. So there's a few cars coming, and also keep an eye out for the colors. The colors are definitely gonna be sharp.
I mean, you excite me when you say colors. I get excited by colors. I got flack because apparently I don't have enough RGB in my setup anymore. Just to let you guys know, I'm going through a reform stage where I turn the lights off. A little bit of darkness. It's good for the health and good to make you not spend your pennies on RGB and save up for cool sim race things. So from my side, JK, thanks for joining us in the booth. You can drag JK out and we can just do a little closing thank you. Unless you guys want to add anything to... Okay, Peanut's already gone, so we cannot. I like it when Eddie is prompt with his duties.
Good news.
What is the good news?
I have some good news. It might be good news. If you try to get into the Dominus website now, it's crashed, and I'm hoping that's because of all the sign-ups we're getting.
I'm hoping so too. I feel like Gareth broke it trying to update the scores, but he won't admit it to me. But you know what? I'll call him out on stream. And it's okay, Gareth, if you can't give us the scores and we have to update everyone later on. It's okay. It's been a great season.
I'm going to stick it with its sign-ups. That's the problem.
Yeah, I mean...
George, thank you for another great season from, sincerely, from Richard and my side. I've thoroughly enjoyed it.
It's been great, and I wouldn't have been able to do it with you guys. We've obviously worked alongside and worked on things together and tried to streamline the process as much as possible, obviously with all our little bits and pieces, trying to stream POVs together and make sure that we can give the viewers a good show. So I'm excited for the work that has been planned out. Spandex Cobra, of course, a top tier producer, is going to be taking over the production side of our streams, and on that front, that means that it will allow us to really specialize in what we want to do with the way that the streams are going forward. So that will be something that we're working on together. Guys, thank you so much, Richard. It's been a pleasure. Eddie, from my side, thank you. Viewers from GMAX, you guys are amazing. I love you all, and all the support has been amazing. There's a solidarity action coming up, so solidarity erase things. I would be I'd be incorrect not to mention those things that are coming up. So just make sure you go and follow the solidarity erase pages if you want to keep up to date with what they're doing on the Neutschleife. That takes place this weekend, as well as hot laps that are going on, I believe, at this point in time. So guys are going out trying to get themselves qualified. So it's been amazing. Eddie, your turn to close out, and then we say goodnight till season 2.
Thank you, George. Thank you, Richard. Thank you, everyone at home. Join us again, and I would tell you when the next season is. I believe it's the 10th of June, but I can't get into the website. I'm taking that as a good sign. Good night. Have fun. See you guys on track.
Richard, you final time to plug whatever you want to plug.
We got enough plug time during the stream. Just want to wish everyone a good night. Stay safe. Stay at home. Look after yourselves. See you in season 2.
Awesome. So let me go and stop the stream on that end, and I'll let you guys know when we are